Yo, how's it going? So today they released the Monk Talents for the Dragonflight Alpha. So I figured I would take a quick look at them now, see what they look like, and give my thoughts on things as they stand currently. I'm sure these will go over a lot of iteration as the other talent trees have, but at least we can see an idea of what Blizzard has in mind for us. So we can see when we start out the tree here, it looks like Tiger's Lust is clicked, but it's not. I don't know if that means I'm just gonna save a point at the end and assume we're clicking on Tiger's Lust, because I think we'll probably want that, even though I don't play with it currently. But that's all right. So from here, looks like Paralyze. We're definitely gonna want that. Down here we get some reduces all damage taken by 3%. Definitely. I don't really think we're gonna want Rising Sun Kick. I feel like that's just gonna give us like bloat that we don't need. So unless it does like an insane amount of damage for like single target or something, I don't think we're going to use that. Soothing Mist is the top left over here. So Roll is underneath Soothing Mist, meaning you have to take Soothing Mist to get it, which feels really awkward. I'm hoping, like it says 1 charges, I'm hoping that Roll is baseline and this is like an extra charge for Roll. But I guess we'll see about that. If it's not, then we're going to have to take Soothing Mist, which is going to be pointless because we're never going to use this as Brewmaster. But let's take a look at the next line here. So underneath the Roll talent, if let's say we're having to take it right now because I'm going to assume that means we need Roll. And I don't want just Tiger's Lust. But taking Roll gives us Tiger Tail Sweep. I don't think we're going to need that. Below that's Elusive Miss. Yeah, so we're never going to cast Soothing Mist, so we're just going to ignore that. Good. Heavy Air increases the range of Crackling Jade Lightning by 10 yards. That's pointless. I mean, I use it for pulling for that 40-yard range, so maybe we'll have to take it. Right beneath it is increases all healing taken by 2, probably 4%. Yeah, so we might take this just so that we have that extra range on pulling and then getting 4% healing. It's not terrible, I guess. Here, Vivify, healing increased by 20%, 40%. Detox, all you tanks out there that don't detox yourself, you better take that. Underneath it, increases all damage dealt by 2%, 4%. Easy choice. Alright, so now we can start going down below. Let's see here. Oh, Vivify, instant cast. I actually Vivify like my party quite a bit, so this might be something I take, but it will depend. Disable, reduces movement speed by 50%. I don't think we're going to need that. Duration refreshed by your melee attacks? Well, we kind of have to like hit a bunch for that to happen, right? So probably not worth it. So Fortifying Brews down here. Looks like we were going to have to take the second talent in Paralyze to get 15 seconds off of it to get into Fort Brew, so we'll definitely take that. Definitely going to want Spear Hand Strike. Transcendence is here. Kind of go with it, go without it. But it is connected to Provoke, so I guess we're taking Transcendence. We'll do that. Alright. Next row, okay, we already said Elusive Miss reduces the damage while channeling Soothing Mist. Not worth it. Doesn't even matter. Here we get the node where we can choose between Chi Wave or Chi Burst. Right now, like, we take Chi Wave, but it's only because everything else on that row sucks. So let's see what's behind Chi Wave and Chi Burst right now to see if it's even going to be worth taking. So roll out during Roll or Chi Torpedo. You're immune to roots and snares. Close to heart, you and your allies within X yards gain an additional 2 or 4% leech. That's not bad, but I don't know that that's worth taking Chi Wave and a Roll snare immunity. And then down here, your healing spells here. When your healing spells heal more than 3 people below 35% HP, heal for an additional X amount. So that was looking more like healing stuff on that side. So we're gonna ignore that part for now. Alright, so we're gonna have to take Transcendence because we want Provoke. We definitely want Ring of Peace. Fast Feet, Rising Sun Kick deals 35% increased damage. Spinning Crane Kick deals 5%. And it doesn't show... Oh, it does increase to 70 and 10 when you double click on it. Right now I don't have us taking Rising Sun Kick, so I'm not going to click on this. plus, so Dampen Harm's right beneath it, but Ring of Peace connects to that, so there's that. Under Spearhand Strike, we've got a choose between Celerity, reducing the cooldown overall by 5 seconds and increasing the maximum number of charges by 1, or Chi Torpedo. Now, I generally like taking Chi Torpedo. I prefer it over just like the regular roll. It's just a preference thing. But if we're only getting 1 charge of roll, like I said, if this is 2 charges, then I guess Chi Torpedo is what I personally would take. But if this is literally just roll and we only get 1 charge, then I guess since we're gonna have Tiger's Lust, we're gonna probably choose Celerity. So let me put Celerity in there for now. Alright, and then so Fort Brew on its own, 15-second, maximum health by 15%, reduces all damage by 15. And so you can add some effectiveness into it. You got 2 choices here. We've got Fort Brew also increases dodge and armor by 25%, so it makes it a little bit stronger. Or reduces the cooldown by 2 minutes. Now, as long as Cake Smash is still going to be reducing all brews by 3 seconds, which it looks like it does. Man, if we have this on a 2-minute, reduce it by 2 minutes, that takes it down to 4. That's probably like a 2-minute cooldown now during keys. So that seems pretty good. Again, if we feel like we're taking more damage, then we could always go with the other option, which is increased dodge and armor. But then that's back on a 6-minute cooldown, which is about 3.5, 4 minutes, with brew reduction. I don't know that that's necessarily needed. We'll see. But it looks like we're going to have to take one of these if we want Expel Harm. Expel Harm's pretty good, so I think we're definitely going to take that. Okay, so underneath these rows then, so we've got, again, the rollout where we're getting immunity to roots and snares, which we're definitely not going to take. Diffuse Magic. Ooh, nice having that back, so we can take that. It says requires Monk, Windwalker. I'm thinking that's just old tooltip. Windwalker or Mistweaver, so we'll probably take that. Eye of the Tiger. Tiger Palm applies Eye of the Tiger, dealing damage. So this is like the talent that we have now. There where we have the choice between Chi Wave, Chi Burst, or this. Honestly, this is super underwhelming talent. I don't even press Tiger Palm. So I don't know that we're going to want this. We'll see if there's any spells over here that modify Tiger Palm to make this worth taking. Underneath it is you and your allies get within 2 yards, get 2% increased movement speed. Let's see when we click on it again. It changes within 4 to 4%. I don't know that that's worth it. I'm thinking that's more of like a Windwalker stuff. Alright, and then we get Dampen Harm. So that's there. Nice. Don't have to choose between Bob and Weeb and that, hopefully. I'm assuming Bob and Weeb's going to be over here somewhere. And then underneath that, well, we can reduce Touch of Death by 60%, but we haven't taken it, so I'm guessing we're going to take that. Oh, Touch of Death can now be used on targets with less than 15% health, dealing 35% of maximum health and damage. Okay, so this is giving the ability to just use it without it killing. Honestly, I basically only try to use it if I can kill stuff. There's only a few instances where it's worth using this if it's not going to kill it. So like right now, that'd be like in Lower Karazhan, Maiden, using it on the shield maybe, and then like the Shrouded FX with the shield if you're like super low, and you weren't low enough to touch a death it beforehand, but now you are after it hit. That doesn't really make sense, but you might use it there if you weren't able to get it off because you had to get a range or something. But right beneath this, we can reduce Touch of Death by 2 minutes, meaning we're going to have it, what, every minute? That's insane. Okay. That's pretty good. The other options down here, again, this is a healing talent. It requires us to take Chi Wave or Chi Burst, a Snare Reducer when you're rolling, just to get Leech, so I'm thinking we're just not doing that. Beneath Diffuse Magic, we've got Escape from Reality. After you Transcend, you can use Transcendence again within 10 seconds, ignoring the cooldown, so basically you can just kind of like go back and forth. That actually might be kind of interesting to use as a tank. I don't know that it's ever going to be worth it, but you could do some interesting kiting, I guess, with that. And then it says during the time, if you cast Vivify on yourself, its healing is increased by 70%, and 50% of its cost is refunded. So maybe that's something you do on, like, I don't know, to weird kiting stuff, I guess. I don't know. Doesn't seem super helpful, but we'll see. Okay, we took 2 talents into Touch of Death to make it reduced by 2 minutes. Underneath, Expel Harm and these using Touch of Death below 15%. We've got Generous Pour. You and your allies within X yards have an additional 2 and 4% avoidance. I'm going to assume that's going to be 2 yards and 4 yards because that's what it says over here for Close to Heart. I mean, avoidance is great. We might take this if we have a need for extra stuff. So let's hold off on that for now. Going down here, save them all. When healing spells, heal more than 3 people below 35% health. Heal for an additional X%. We're not going to take that. Over here, we've got Resonant Fists. When 3 consecutive abilities hit more than 3 enemies, deal an additional X% damage. I mean, what? That's Keg Smash, Rising, not Rising Sun Kick, but Spinning Crane Kick. So you could like Spinning Crane Kick, Keg Smash, Spinning Crane Kick again to get this going on. Might not be bad. And there's 2 talents in that, meaning you can do it twice. Yeah, I mean, Breath of Fire hits multiple targets, so you'd really just want to be careful that basically the only thing you wouldn't want to hit would be like Blackout Kick, right? Or Tiger Palm, if you're using Tiger Palm, which I don't currently. Because Breath of Fire should hit more than 3 targets. I mean, if you took Chi Wave, it would hit more than 3 targets. Maybe. It depends on if that would count. Rushing Jade Wind should hit more than 3, right? You would think. Maybe not because it's cast. I don't know. Rushing Jade Winds. We'd have to do some kind of testing here to see what counts and what doesn't count out of our abilities. But we'll probably look into going here. Bounce Back. When a hit deals more than 20% of your maximum health, reduce all damage by X% for 6 seconds. Yeah, I mean, we're tanks. Let's do that. And then if we go right beneath that, we can even get access to Black Ox Statue. I mean, right now, it doesn't really feel super necessary to have Black Ox Statue, but being able to mass taunt in keys, depending on how our threat looks at the beginning of the expansion, might not be a bad thing to have, right? So I'm gonna put a point in there just to have it. Let's come back up here. It's not counting a point in the Tiger's list. I can't put a point or remove a point here. So I'm gonna, even though it says 26, I'm gonna assume this is 27. And let's go back up here. Like I meant all the thresholds just by taking these things here. So let's go back in and see what we might want for 4 more points. So I don't think we're really going to need Disable. I think that's not going to be needed. Vivify, having its healing increased by 20 or 40% may be possible. Like depends on how often you're going to be healing your group. Like I said, right now, hunters are pretty squishy, so I'll throw out some Vivifies on a hunter or if my healer's low, just to like help out in the middle of a fight. So having Vivify be an instant cast might be something I take. Plus, you could then use it on yourself too, as an extra heal besides Expel Harm. So that might be worth it. Like I said, I don't really think we're going to need Chi Wave or Chi Burst right now. Like the tuning on Chi Burst isn't very good, and Chi Wave is like better than pressing nothing. So there's that. So I'll put 2 points into here, and then this talent down here is just under construction. It just means there's nothing there. I'm assuming it's going to be something that maybe Windwalker would normally have. But we'll take the 2 points in here because we're going to do most of the AoE damage here. So we could have Tiger Palm applies add the Tiger again, and then get increased speed. We could take Chi Wave. I don't really know what else we would want to take here. Like I said, maybe on single target we could potentially take Rising Sun Kick. That could be okay. Having the ability to Touch of Death, anything. I'm wondering if this is supposed to be like a node just unlocking Touch of Death. It seems like it might be, so I guess I'll put a point there for now. Or you could just put the 2 points into the avoidance. And again, it's not clicking Tiger's Lust right now, so I'm going to assume we're going to be clicking that. So that'll be our 31st talent. So that's what I'm thinking that's going to look like. It's not too bad right now, and there's some definite options that you could change around to have this. I mean, right now we're getting access to Fort Brew, we're getting Dampen Harm, Diffuse Magic, right? We're getting Detox, which We have to take Soothing Mist, which feels really bad. Again, just to get this roll unlocked. Again, I'm hoping this is just one additional charge of roll. And then we might not take Soothing Mist at all. Because right now that just feels kind of weird. But not too bad for just like standard monk options there. I think it feels pretty nice actually. Gives us basically all the utility I think I would want, plus having the Ox statue, which again, you don't really need to take this, right? We could take something else instead of this, because Ox isn't super helpful right now, but we'll see. Let's go ahead and let's take a look over at the Brewmaster side then. So, Cake Smash is going to be our first ability, and we can see it does grant Shuffle for 5 seconds, and reduces cooldown of Brews by 3, so that's the same. 8-second recharge, going to be reduced by Haste. Right underneath that, we get Stagger. That's probably important for us to have. Alright, on the left, we get Purifying Brew. Definitely. And Shuffle, definitely. I mean, Shuffle right now automatically, goes in, but there's going to be talents I know down here that interact with Shuffle, so I'll go with that. Okay, so so right there, that's 4 points out of the 8 that we need to get into the next section. So, first here we've got Hit Scheme. Dealing damage with Blackout Kick increases the damage of your next Cake Smash by 10%, stacking up to 4 times. Very rarely are you going to Cake Smash probably more than twice between that. So, I mean, that's 20% increased damage on Cake Smash. That's not bad. To the right, we've got Gift of the Ox. When you take damage, have a chance to get our Healing Spheres. And there's 2 talents there, so 150 of attack power. It didn't change, so I'm not sure what the 2 is on there, but I'm assuming we'll probably need to take both. Or at least one. We'll see. Right now, our Healing Spheres increase the healing of our Expel Harms, so that might be something we need. Alright, in the middle here, we've got Healing Elixir. This is a talent I have never taken. I think I used this when I was doing the Monk Challenge mode, and that's it. But, like, having access to Healing Elixir, we've got Expel Harm, we can have Instant Cast Vivify. That's actually quite a bit of self-healing that we could have going into here. Underneath Shuffle, we've also got Quick Sip. Every 3 seconds of Shuffle, you gain purifies 1% of your damage delayed by Stagger, so it gets rid of 1% of your Stagger. I mean, that's every time we Cake Smash, and every 3 Blackout Kicks. It's not super beneficial. It's got 2 in here, so 2 turns it into... Tooltip doesn't change, but I'm assuming it's 2%. So that might be something we take, might not. Over here, we've got the choice between Rushing Jade Wind and Special Delivery. If tuning is the same as it is right now, and it works the same way, I'm assuming we're always going to take Rushing Jade Wind unless we're doing, 28 plus keys, and you're just mostly kiting. So I'll put a point into Rushing Jade Wind. That gives me 5. It looks like Hit Scheme is going to unlock everything down here, so we'll take Hit Scheme. And then I still need 2 more, so... We've got either the choice of taking 2 points into Shuffle, purifying 1% of Stagger, or 2, really, or taking the Healing Sphere. So let's take a look at what's beneath both of these to see what we might take, or Healing Elixir still, right? But we need 2 more points here. So we have Stagger Strikes. When you Blackout Kick, your Stagger is reduced by 50. Now that's a specific 50. It's not a percent. So that's interesting. And then it looks like it'd be 100 if you click it twice. Yeah, 100. So, I mean, that's not very much damage. Assuming we're going to have more health than we do now, that's almost nothing. So I don't know that this is going to be any good unless those numbers change to be a percentage. But down here we do get access to Cell Brew, which you're definitely going to want. This one's new, Celestial Flames. Drinking from brews has a 30% chance to coat your monk with Celestial Flames for 6 seconds. While that's active, Spinning Crane Kick applies Breath of Fire, and Breath of Fire reduces the damage affected enemies deal to you by an additional 5%. So this kind of right now is giving us like our 2-piece, but a better version of it, where like it's a chance, right, to activate, but then Spinning Crane Kick gives it to you. That's actually nice, because I mean, from here, now you could basically have, the Ignite from our Breath of Fire up all the time on all enemies, depending on how, I mean, 30% chance, so it's going to be pretty frequently. So this might be something we take for sure. Over here, I already talked about Staggering Strike, so I don't think we're going to take that right now with how it looks. Graceful Exit. After you successfully dodge an enemy or an enemy misses you, you'll gain 5% increased movement speed for 3 seconds. And clicking on it again doesn't tell me if it's going to be 10% or 6 seconds. Either way, I don't know that that's going to be useful. Maybe on like a Necrotic Week. Doubtful. Zen Med is over here as an active ability. And Clash. Now, I'm a big proponent for Clash, so I'm definitely going to want a talent point in Clash. I think it's pretty good. And it looks like it's also going to root targets within 6 yards when you use it now, so that's nice. So this is good as an extra interrupt. I like having this. It also gives you a little bit of movement, and you can reposition for Sanguine Weeks. Zen Med being here, this is kind of interesting, because like, part of me wants to take Zen Med, but the other part of me is like, we're already getting Diffuse Magic, Dampen Harm, and I mean, we already have Fort Brew, right? But we're already getting Diffuse Magic and Dampen Harm. If we have those two defensives added, do we really need Zen Med? I don't know that we will. I'm going to be honest, right now, I don't use Zen Med that often. I use it basically to like immune a Shared Suffering in Lower Karazhan on Huntsman. And I used it like once or twice in Necrotic Wake when we're dealing with like the large A-bombs on like super high fortified keys. When I need an extra defensive, I'd use it there. But other than that, I haven't really used it that often. Let's take a look at the talent underneath it, because there is a talent that's going to improve it. So this might make it actually better, but maybe not. We'll see. So if we take this, there's an extra talent for Zen Med, which is Fundamental Observation. Zen Med has a 25% reduced cooldown. Okay, so just under 4 minutes then. And is no longer canceled when you move or when you are hit by melee. So right now, it looks like Zen Med's not going to be, like, you're going to have to stand still when you do it. This one's going to give you the functionality we have now where you can move while casting it. But it also has the added functionality of it's not going to be canceled when you're hit by melee. So you're still not going to be able to attack, but you're going to be able to have that 60% reduction for the full 8 seconds. So this might be something, like, depending on key, we might want to take these two pieces together. But I'm honestly thinking right now, without it, I don't know that we're going to need it. Let's take a look at what the nodes are down here, because... So we've got Split here coming off it, because we're definitely not going to take this talent. I don't think we're going to need the extra speed after dodging. I think that's going to be not great. But underneath it, we've got a split node where we can choose between Strength of Spirit, where Expel Harm's healing is increased by up to 200% based on your missing health. That's pretty good. Or Gale Flynn's Imperial Brew. I'm sure I butchered that. Purifying Brew instantly heals you for 25% of the purified stagger damage. Ooh. That could be really good or really crappy, right? If you've got super high stagger, that's going to be good. If you have super low stagger, that's going to be bad. So if we want to take, I'm thinking right now that's going to be the Expel Harm one, where we're going to get more healing out of it based on our missing health. I think that's just a no-brainer there. So based on that, I think we're going to want to take the regular Zen Med just to get that node. And then, if you know that you're going to need to move when Zen Medding, or if you want it to hit, like, reduce lots of attacks, then maybe we'll take this extra node here. The other one over here is Facepalm. Tiger Palm has a 10% chance to deal 300% of normal damage and reduce the remaining cooldown of brews by an additional 1%. Now, that might make Tiger Palm worth pressing over Spinning Crane Kick and Single Target, but also as an extra active ability. So, there's that. Let's see what's underneath it to determine whether that's going to be interesting or not. So underneath that, we'll get Shadow Boxing Treads. Blackout Kicks damage increased by 20% and strikes an additional 2 targets. Ooh, so this, if we took this gives us some synergy with Resonating Fist over here. When 3 consecutive abilities hit more than 3 enemies, they'll deal an additional damage. So Shadow Boxing could help that, because then you're hitting 3 targets with Blackout Kick. I'm wondering if that means that each hit of Blackout Kick will give you 1 second off brew. I'm assuming probably not. It's probably just using it gives you 1 second, but that'd be interesting. The other option is Fluidity in Motion, where Blackout Kick's cooldown is reduced by a second, and its damage is increased by 10%. So, that one kind of seems underwhelming. 10% is not very much, obviously. But that shadow boxing could end up coming into play. What's right underneath it? Counter Strike. Each time you dodge or an enemy misses you, your next Tiger Palm or Spinning Crane Kick deals increased damage. So this could be like kind of good for more of a single target build, maybe like a fortified or sorry, a tyrannical week maybe. But I'm not sure. That these all seem kind of right now. I'm not big on Tiger Palm. I'll be honest. Tiger Palm's not on my bars. I just use Spinning Crane Kick when I need a filler. So I'm gonna leave these blank for now. Let's see what else is underneath Strength of Spirit. So we get a node between Light Brewing. So the reduced cooldown on Purifying Brew and Ancestral Brew by 20%. Or Training of Nuzio, Nizao. I always like to call him Nuzio. You'll gain 15% mastery based on your current level of Stagger. So this is kind of like the haste one that we're taking, right? Or we've taken in the past. I think we're definitely going to want the reduced cooldown on Purifying Brew. So that definitely tells me we're going to want to take Zen Med. We're definitely going to want to take Strength of Spirit to get access to Light Brewing. The one in the middle, Shocking Blow, Crackling Jade Lightning deals 40% less damage. It already does nothing, but okay. And has a cost of 40 energy. Oh, okay. But it's now instant and causes your next Blackout Kick against the target to shock them, dealing additional nature damage. I don't know, that seems like a waste. I mean, spending 40 energy just to have Blackout Kick do nature damage, unless it's also going to stun them or do something else, that seems like a waste. So I'm gonna ignore that one for now. Over on the left, we haven't talked about any of these, so let's come down and talk about these. I know we talked about these first three. So underneath Celestial Brew, we've got Breath of Fire. Okay, we're probably going to want that. It's kind of a main target ability. Gives us a reduced damage against targets. Underneath Cell Brew, we get Purifying Brew increases the absorption of next Cell Brew by up to 200%. So that's going to be our Purifying Brew stacking cooldown or stacking buff mechanic right now. To the right, Purifying Brew has 2 charges. Okay, so all these ones right here look required, while all these are kind of optional, maybe. All right, we're at 16 points. Okay, underneath Breath of Fire, we've got Scalding Brew. So our Conduit, Cake Smash, deals an additional 20% damage to targets affected by Breath of Fire. Or we've got a new one, when you use Cake Smash, the remaining cooldown on Breath of Fire is reset. So that, So like for extreme AoE, that could be interesting. We're getting it to where you can Breath of Fire after every Keg Smash. That could be good for threat. That could be good for just damage in general. Maybe we'll see on tuning there. Depending on how tuning works, I think we might take. I think we're going to take one of those two, right? I think we're going to take one of the two. I just don't know which one it's going to be right now. But both seem pretty good. And then beneath that, we've got another one, Dragonfire Brew. After using Breath of Fire, you breathe fire 2 additional times, each dealing 13% of attack power fire damage. And then Breath of Fire's damage is increased by up to 100% based on your stagger level. So this is something where if we're taking big pools, we're going to be able to Breath of Fire a lot. It's interesting. Underneath that, we've got Charred Passions, which is the Lego that a lot of us used in Season 2 for single target in Raid. Breath of Fire ignites your right leg in flame for 8 seconds, causing your Blackout Kick and Spinning Crane Kick to deal 100% additional damage as fire damage, and refresh the duration of Breath of Fire on target. Now, this is interesting because on the Lego, it was only Spinning Crane Kick. And now it's both Blackout Kick and Spinning Crane Kick. So, I don't know, like, both of these allow you to have your Ignite dot up basically all the time. Right now, it kind of feels like Dragonfire Brew would be better if we're going to take one of these. Just because you're just always doing Breath of Fire damage. And it's going to be increased by how much stagger you have. Whereas at the bottom, you've got Blackout Kick and Spinning Crane Kick doing 100% additional damage as fire damage, so it's not being reduced by armor, and Refreshing Breath of the Fire. So like I said, I mean, either way, I don't know that you even need to be Refreshing Breath of Fire if you were taking the bottom talent here, where you're Refreshing Breath of Fire with Cake Smash. These two are interesting. I don't know which one we're going to take, but I'm thinking maybe let's take the one where Breath of Fire is reset for now. And let's take the top one, the Dragonflight Brew. Well, I can't click on it yet, but I will take it in a second. Alright, so right next to this one, we've got an additional effectiveness on Fort Brew. So Fort Brew, what we have clicked on from the Monk talent tree, gives us 15 seconds of increased health by 15% and reducing all damage taken by 15%. And it's reduced by 2 minutes. So instead of being, 6 minutes, it's going to be 4 minutes and then reduced by Cake Smash and reduced by Blackout Kick. And then this is going to add to it. It increases the effectiveness of Stagger, so what it is now. So, I don't know. This is one of those things where it's like we already have a lot of defensives at our use. Maybe we take it, maybe we don't. This kind of gives us the functionality that we have now currently on live. So, I don't know that I'll take that for now, but we'll see. Alright, moving over to the next, we've got Black Ox Brew. Chug some brew, which instantly refills your energy. Purifying brew charges and resets cooldown of Cell Brew. On a 2-minute cooldown, that's kind of up. But underneath it's Bob and Weave, which is amazing. So Stagger is increased by 3 seconds, causing Stagger damage to instead be applied over 13. Now, this is something that I didn't mention up earlier, but here, instead of Stagger working over 7 seconds like it does now without Bob and Weave, it is 10. So this would give us our Stagger over 13 seconds instead of that, which is 3 seconds more than currently. So maybe we need this, maybe we don't, because currently we are already getting it, but this does still make Stagger do less damage to us over time, so I'm going to click it for now. Alright, and then in the middle we've got Invoke Nuzio, or Nizao, rather, with the same effectiveness, last 25 seconds, 3-minute cooldown, and Stomp, dealing damage based on cleared Stagger. So we'll definitely take that. Alright, so right now that puts me at 19 of 30, and we need 20 to get into the next row. So we can come back. Let's take a look up here at some of the things that we didn't click on. So again, we've got Celestial Flames, which is the drinking brew, has a 30% chance to coat you in flames. And while that is active, Spinning Crane Kick applies Breath of Fire, and Breath of Fire reduces the damage of enemies dealing to you by an additional 5%. So maybe that one, but we're already getting a lot of Breath of Fire, so I don't know that we need it. We could go, when you Blackout Kick, your Stagger's reduced by 50. That's, again, a flat 50 damage, so that's not super great. We could go into Healing Elixir on a 30-second recharge, healing us for 15% of our max health, which seems crazy that we would have access to Expel Harm and improved Expel Harm, potentially taking a point into Vivify over here for instant cast. But this doesn't cost anything but a charge, so maybe we'll take that. Come back over here. Every 3 shuffle you gain purifies 1% of your damage delayed by Stagger. So I'm thinking the point is probably going to come from one of these two locations, either Healing Elixir or Quicksap, even though, like, just thinking about it right now, this is already a lot more active abilities than we have currently, so not a bad thing, but some people might not like it as much. And then we've got the options to go into this over here. I don't know, I think I'm going to put right now the point into, just put it into Quicksip for now, just to get access to the lower traits, and we can see what's there. So again, we've got options for Dragonflight Brew and Charred Passions, we talked about. I'm thinking Dragonflight Brew might be something to take. Underneath the additional Fort Brew. Actually, you know what? Let's take this out of here. Let's put it in for Fort Brew. That way we have the current effectiveness of it. Alright, underneath the improved Fort Brew, we have High Tolerance. Stagger is 2% more effective at delaying your damage. You gain 15% haste based on your current level. Yeah, definitely. And so it looks like we can go from 2% to 4%. Maybe we do 2 points, maybe we do 1. Right underneath it, if we take 2 points, we get access to Bone Dust Brew. And then under Bone Dust Brew, we get access to Bountiful Brew, so the Unity version of that. Or, so that's where you have a low chance to cast Bone Dust Brew at your target location, which, again, hits things around it. It says approximately 1.5 procs per minute. Isn't super great, but it's there. And you still get the effectiveness that Bone Dust Brew normally does, which your abilities have a 50% chance to affect the target a second time. And, it doesn't actually say it reduces the cooldown of your brews. So that's something that it does on live, but it doesn't do here. If it's not going to do that, I don't think we need Bone Dust Brew. But let's take a look at Attenuation. Bone Dust Brew's shadow damage or healing is increased by 20%, and when Bone Dust Brew deals shadow damage or healing, its cooldown is reduced by 0.5. I don't know. Right now, the reasons to go Necrolord are really only on like super high keys, and there, from my understanding, it's mostly about getting access to the soul binds, which give you like extra stagger and some stuff there. I don't know that Bone Dust Brew is that great. I'm not a huge fan of Bone Dust Brew. Like, as a Windwalker, yeah, it's really good. As a Brewmaster, I don't know. Like, it's cool to see that there, but I'd almost rather have the Venthyr ability where you summon more monks and then they cast Keg Smash. But that's just me. I think that one's more fun than Bone Dust Brew. But let's take a look at the other ones. So we've got Walk with the Ox. Abilities that grant Shuffle reduce the cooldown of Invoke Nizao by 0.5 seconds, and Stomp deals an additional 10%. So, again, our Conduit returning. That's really good, so we'll take 2 points into that. That gives us 20%. Still just 0.5 seconds, but, I mean, right now, that makes Invoke Nizao down to like a 2-minute cooldown, just based on using our abilities correctly. So I think that's going to be pretty good. Going to the right, we've got Elusive Footwork. Blackout Kick deals an additional 5% damage, and Blackout Kick critical hits grant an additional 1%, 1 stack of Elusive Brawler. So that's our Mastery stack. That gives us the ability to dodge. And there's 2 points there, so it looks like it's 5%, and, 2 stacks of it. That could be interesting. Give us some extra dodge. Don't know that it's going to be required, but let's take a look what else is over there. So, to the right, we've got Anvil and Stave. We've got each time you dodge or an enemy misses you, the remaining cooldown on your brews is reduced by half a second. And that goes up to 1 second. That actually seems really good. Because our Mastery does make us dodge quite a bit, even with low percent. So having an extra second off, I don't know that it's going to be make or break, but it might depend on what's underneath it. Let's see what's underneath it. We've already taken a look at the Counter-Strike. I don't think it's worth it. Especially because you're going to have to take all these other things. But underneath Anvil and Stave is Weapons of Order making a return. And this looks like the exact Weapons of Order that we have now. Actually, it might even be a better version. For the next 30 seconds, your Mastery is increased by 10%. Additionally, Keg Smash's cooldown is reset instantly. So there's the functionality we have now. And enemies hit by Keg Smash take 8% increased damage from you for 10 seconds, stacking up to 4 times. That seems really good. That seems like I already like Weapons of Order. I might be a little biased here because I like it a lot. I like having that reduction. And having Keg Smash up again, especially on big pools. So I kind of like that. Let's see what's right underneath it since we're in this line going down. I'm definitely taking that. So I took the 2 Anvils and Stairs. And then we've got a choice of a node here. We've got Call to Arms. Weapon of Order calls forth Nizao for 12 seconds. So we've got our Unity for Kyrian as one of the choices there. So interesting to see that Unity for both Necrolord and Kyrian are coming into play. So that's nice. Underneath it, we've got Effusive Anima Accelerator. So this is the bottom talent node in the Mykonos tree. So activating your Kyrian class ability releases a blast of overcharged anima at your target's location, dealing blah blah blah, attack power plus verse. Arcane damage split evenly between all targets over 8 seconds. Also, it reduces the cooldown of your Kyrian class ability, so Weapons of Order, by 4 seconds per affected enemy to a maximum of 20 seconds. So it's kind of going to be a pick or choose. Do we want Nizao for 12 seconds, which gives us a little bit more damage and gives us damage reduction? Or do we want the ability to cast Weapons of Order more often, giving us an extra Cake Smash, making Cake Smash do more damage? Honestly, I can see both of these being good. I understand why they put them both on the same one. I'm thinking we're definitely putting a point in here. I don't know which one we're going to want. Right now, I feel like we're going to want the reduced cooldown and doing damage over time to enemies, just so that we're able to do that more often in keys. But maybe in single target, or maybe as like the key level goes up, maybe we want instead the Unity version of that. So I'm going to put a point in here right now into the bottom choice, which is the reduced cooldown on it and doing the AoE when we cast it. But like I said, I think either way, I think we're using both of these nodes. All right, so that awkwardly gives us 29 of 30, and we haven't really looked into the middle parts here. So let's come back and take a look here, because maybe there's something we don't want based on what's down here. So underneath Walk with the Ox, we've got Invoke Nizao. Now has Purifying Stagger damage while Nizao is active, increases the damage of Nizao's next stomp by 25%, and damage purified split between all enemies. Oh, so I was actually wrong. Up here, so it does still stomp. 25% of damage is delayed. Purifying Stagger damage. Alright, so this is something different. So, okay. So Purifying Stagger damage while Nizao is active increases the damage of Stomp again. So, okay, this is the current... It's part of it, right? So where when we Purify, Stomp's going to do more damage. Okay. And that's going to be split between enemies. Okay, so this is basically where we Purify and Stomp does more damage. So that functionality is not right now in the normal. So we would have to take this talent to get it. So that would give us 30, which caps us out. So let's keep on looking and see what else is there, because I have a feeling we're going to want this talent down here. I've peeked at it, and let's take a look at the others first. So we've got Exploding Keg. Hurls a Flaming Keg. This is the talent that we currently have and never, ever use. Hurls a Flaming Keg at the target location, dealing 258% of attack power fire damage to nearby enemies, causing your attacks against them to deal 20% of attack power additional fire damage and causing them to miss their melee attacks for the next 3 seconds. Again, no one uses this. It's... Alright. Over here, we've got Blackout Combo. Blackout Kick also empowers your next ability. Tiger Palm gets increased damage. Breath of Fire, Pyrrhic damage increased by 50%, and damage reduction increased by 5. Cake Smash reduces the remaining cooldown of your brews by 2 seconds. Celestial Brew, gain up to 3 additional stacks of Purified Chi when you use it. Or Purifying Brew pauses stagger damage for 3 seconds. Again, this is another talent I don't think that we'll want. I believe we have something similar to it right now that we don't ever take. But let's take a look at this bottom one. The bottom one is... Spoiler, we're going to want this one, so we're going to have to move around one of our points somewhere. But this is our Storm Styles Last Keg Lego. And so this is where Keg Smash deals 30% increased damage and has an additional charge. That's 100% going to be required. We're definitely wanting that. So now I think we need to come back and see maybe between this node here and this node here which one we want. And maybe get rid of one of them. But we need all the nodes above this to get access here, right? So we can't get rid of anything from Anvil and Stave. We can't get rid of Walking with Ox. We do have 2 points right here into High Tolerance, making Stagger 4% more effective at delaying damage, which is actually 1% less than what the talent is currently. I think it's 5%. But if we take that out, then it's 2% more effective, and we still get the haste. So I'm thinking maybe we just put 1 point in there, and we take Storm Stout, and then we're able to keep both Dragonfire Brew, where after Breath of Fire 2 additional times, and you deal more damage with Breath of Fire based on your stagger. And we're able to keep our node over here. But there may be some options where maybe we get rid of one of these and we put a second point in here. It's really going to depend on tuning. I know I've got a couple points in here above that we could kind of move around and maybe not use. Like I've got a point into Fortifying Brew, which I feel like we don't necessarily need. There's also some, like maybe Tiger Palm gets tuned up higher and all these talents over here end up being good. But right now, I think that we've got some really good options in the Brewmaster side of the talent tree. There's not a whole lot of hard choices in here that are bad. We got a lot of stuff that I think we needed to get in order for Brewmaster to stay as good as it is right now, where we're competing for blood for our top spot. We're securely the second spot, right? So having Stormstout's Last Keg, having Weapons of Order, getting the option of either Unity for Kyrian or the bottom Mykonos spot for that. We get options for these 2 new fire abilities. Like, there's some really good stuff in here. And over in the Brewmaster tree, we're just getting so much. Like, we're getting back Diffuse Magic, we're getting Dampen Harm without having to get rid of Bob and Weave. And even in here, there's some talents that we could kind of move around. So, we technically don't even need Black Ox statues. So there's some other stuff we can do here. Still remains seen to what's going to be on the bottom talent here. They said that it'll be updated in a future build. And I'm sure a lot of this will be updated and changed, and they'll say, oh, we don't like the fact that you can take as many OP talents as they've given us. So maybe those will go away, but that remains to be seen. Right now, I'm excited. I think that these are all really good things to have access to. I think our future is looking good if we have anything close to what is currently on this talent tree now. And we're even getting some improvements, so I look forward to it. What do you think? Does your build different from mine? Is there any talents that you think we should take instead of the ones I took? Do you think Tiger Palm's worth using? Do you think these talents make it even better and it makes it superior and I should stop using Spinning Crane Kick? Let me know. Because right now, I don't press Tiger Palm. Ever. I don't ever try. It's not even on my bars. I haven't pressed it since I did a 9, in Season 2 when I was, decided to start playing Monk again. So, that's it for me, though. Please, again, like I said, let me know what you think. Do you disagree with anything? Are you excited about any of these talents? Like I said, I'm excited about a lot of them. And definitely, if you like the content, hit the like button, subscribe. I've got more content coming out. I'm going to be upping up my content game here. I've been recently just kind of putting out different progression keys that I've been doing up above 20s. Last season got up to 25 and 26s. I've recently released 2 monk guides, a really in-depth one for Brewmaster and one that's kind of just the basics that you need. And I'm going to be doing some stuff with routes and different keys and special tips and tricks that you can do as a Brewmaster. So look forward for that, and if it sounds good, hit the subscribe button. I'll keep that content coming, and I look forward to doing it with you guys.